Hello and welcome to this Dot Connector videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, I want to talk today about what I call Monsters Inc., which is a amalgamation of Amazon, Google, and Facebook. A few others you can add in as well. But they're the kind of main ones. They are together dominating, increasingly monopolizing their area of operation. You have Google that now has 2 trillion searches a year. You have YouTube, owned by Google, that gets 1.5 billion active users a month. You have Facebook that has passed, it says, 2 billion users. And then you have Amazon, which began as an online bookseller, but it was never going to end there, and has now moved into retail, into almost every product you can think of. And it's reached the point where $1 in every 2 in America spent online is spent with Amazon, and something like £4 in every 10 in the UK. And it has devastated the independent book market in terms of publishers and sellers, and has destroyed so much independence in that industry as it controls more and more of what is produced and what isn't, which I'll come to in a second. And we therefore have these gathering monopolies, and they have so much power that they make billions and billions, but they don't even pay tax worth the name. It's laughable. And there was this story running this week. Why is Amazon being given £1 million by the tax man? It notched up £7 billion worth of sales last year. It pays next to no tax, and now it's being given £1 million by the tax man, while other businesses trying to compete with Amazon get none of that and get every penny of tax charged that they're due for. And this gathering power does not only relate to tax, but something actually even more important, which is the flow of information. Because now you have Facebook increasingly dominating the flow and communication and circulation of information. You have Google, who dominate the search for information. And you have, of course, Google's YouTube, again, dominating the whole video screening market on the internet. And this is how it's worked with all of them, because it's been my contention for a very, very long time that actually, if you go deep enough in the shadows, these corporations are working as one unit. So it starts out where they're, hey, cool, man, and they put on this face of being very nice, like the t-shirt Zuckerberg in Facebook. Hey, man, cool. And they get more and more domination and more and more domination. Hey, cool, man. And eventually they reach the point where they again, this word, dominate their sphere of operation, that they then have the power to say, okay, are we controlling enough now? Yeah, okay. Now let's start the censorship. And we've seen Facebook using the hoax of fake news to justify the censorship of information. Over and over again, they've been caught out for that. In fact, they are admitting openly the use of algorithms to filter out information that they don't want to see circulated. And by they, who is the they? Who really controls Facebook? Who really controls Google? Who really controls Amazon? And what is their agenda? Because there is a common theme here with Google more and more, again using algorithms, to push down and suppress the flow of information that they don't want people to see. They use this all-encompassing term hate speech, but who decides what that is? They do. And it was inevitable. There was this story this week on the Activist Post website. Google and YouTube target conspiracy theories in new quality control update. Google continues to make George Orwell's book 1984 a reality by censoring free speech and free flow of information. The latest update to its rating guidelines brings many changes, but the biggest are focused on conspiracy theory websites and query results in the non-English language and satirical pages that don't make it clearly known that they are satire. And it goes on to talk about how so-called unsubstantiated conspiracy theories are being targeted by Google. And then here with YouTube, a subsidiary of Google. Meanwhile, YouTube, a Google parent company, is planning on crucifying anyone who doesn't upload fuzzy cat videos and puppies. In other words, all their controversial content creators under the guise of getting rid of, quote, extremist content. Who decides what's extremist content? They do. And this is going on and on and on and on. And the idea is that in the end, only information that is in line with the official narrative will be circulating through these vehicles on the internet. And then there's Amazon. When Amazon began, it didn't censor books. They just let anything go through, basically. But now, thanks to the Zionist lobby, seems to be everywhere, they've started censoring books. And this is just the start. Again, I say that these corporations are working as one unit to one end, and that is to dominate, among other things, the flow of information of what people see and what they don't see. And because of this situation with algorithms, they can do that. And the mainstream media needs to realize that actually it is in the gun sights of this lot. Because, yes, we complain about the mainstream media and its bias and its inability or unwillingness to investigate what should be investigated with regard to official narratives of everything. But within that dross of pseudo-journalists are still some very, very good ones who do, within the limitations that they face, seek to investigate and uncover the truth about a range of things. They still get through. And of course, if you are dealing with print newspapers, then it's more difficult to censor than it is on the internet, because you can't algorithm censor a newspaper. So the whole plan, and we're seeing it unfold so blatantly, is to destroy newspapers and the print media. And we're seeing newspapers disappearing all over the world. Even one national newspaper The Independent has now gone online only. And once everything is on the internet, then the algorithms can start filtering out, even in the mainstream, what people see and can't see. And, you know, there was this massive controversy in the last century about the vast monopolies of people like J.D. Rockefeller and trust laws introduced to break up the Standard Oil monopoly. And that was bad enough. But we now have something far, far more sinister, even than that. Not the domination of oil, the domination of information from which everything comes. And, you know, we can ignore it and hope it will go away. That's not the idea. The idea is it gets worse and worse and worse, and the censorship gets greater and greater and greater. And humanity, and it is humanity because everyone is affected by this anywhere in the world, needs to start addressing these monopolies on information operating on the internet, and start to press for them to be dealt with in a Rockefeller Standard Oil type way, where they are not allowed to continue to expand and dominate on the scale that is currently happening. Because there's only one way that this will end when you see the numbers and the control increasing all the time. And that is that a handful of corporations will completely control the flow of information that anyone in the world is allowed to see. And we should not fall for the myth that they are primarily doing this only for money and only for market share. Behind the scenes, in the shadows, it's being done for a much more sinister reason, a reason of total human control. Control perception, you control reality. Control reality, you control the world. And if this situation I'm describing is not addressed and sorted out, then humanity is going to regret it, well, forever.